David, how's the break been for you?
It's been good for certain reasons, because then you get, obviously there's a bit of a gruelling schedule just up into the break, but at the same time you want to keep playing, so there's kind of a bit of a mixed feelings towards it, especially for myself. But you know, some of the players then get the opportunity to go away and represent their country, which is a fantastic honour for them. And then the whole time they're away, we're all sitting making sure that you want to come back as healthy as possible. Thankfully everybody's pretty much done that, which is good. And listen, there's massive games coming in. There's been a bit of a break for some boys. There's also been opportunity for some boys to get minutes. We had a little bounce game within that period, but it's all geared up now to a huge game tomorrow.
Just been speaking to Rocky there about, obviously got his first competitive game for Congo. What's his future? Because he doesn't seem to know.
He doesn't seem to know. No, I think his future's bright because of how well he's playing at the minute. You just touched on there, his first competitive cap, and he's managed to, he's been around the setup for a long time. He's been consistently called up, consistently goes and tries to represent his country, and it's been a massive goal he has, and he fully deserves his cap because of how well he's performed this season for Hibs, and that's what that's about, and that's a real good reflection on the club as well, and players that can look at it and see if you're performing well on this stage. I've said it many times, it's a big club, that international managers notice that and take notice. He's playing at a very good level, and as a result of that he gets rewarded with his first competitive cap, so I'm delighted for him because he fully deserves it, and he's came back and he's ready to go tomorrow.
Is his future going to be at Hibs though? You say it's going to be bright.
It could be, it could well be. I think, listen, there is communication going on, as there is with all the players that are out of contract, and right now there's no distractions for what we're trying to do. He's fully focused on what he wants to try and do, and that's now that's back and trying to get and make sure he stays in the team and playing at a certain level, because I've said it all the time, you're constantly being judged when you pull on the jersey, whether that's to earn a contract here or elsewhere. It's in your best interest to do the best you can, and if the team's successful and individually we're successful, then everybody benefits.
You say international managers, as form catches their eye, it'll catch the eye of club managers as well, won't it? Because I suspect there may be one or two suitors out there looking at it. I'm
sure there will be, yeah. Not just because of the level he's playing at, but just his attributes and how he's done. He's a very good age as well. He's playing at a high level, very athletic, got a lot of really good attributes as well for defence. For a defender, can play. I think he's got a really high ceiling as well, where he can get to, and he's a really good boy as well. That's a big thing I would say about him. A brilliant character every single day in the building. So, he's in a real good place right now, and we want to try and make sure we keep getting the best of him.
Where are you in terms of planning then for the summer and next season?
There's constant communication about where we like to get to, what we'd like to do, but right now there's so much to play for this season. We're not taking our eye off the ball at all in terms of what we're trying to do. As I said to the players before we played Kilmarnock, we're in a different situation now, which is we're the team being chased. So rather than us chasing everyone to try and catch the team in front of us, everyone's trying to catch us now, and we need to make sure that it's a different mentality, and a mentality that we're desperate to try and stay there and do everything we can to do that, and that's the focus between now and the end of the season. And the work that will go on in the background, that's constantly going on, which I always talk about, when the transfer window opens it'll all turn towards that, but the work's going on in the background about what we'd like to do, but my focus and my job is to make sure we get results on the pitch, and that's my full focus right now.
You're probably maybe just one win, maybe even 1 point away from securing the top 6 place. That would be a prize that a few months ago looked highly unlikely. You don't get any other awards though, but it's a footstep into something that could become and make this season really good for the club in terms of the European qualification. And again, enticing other players to either remain here or come to the club.
It definitely does. I think when you think back to how the seasons went, and you just touched on it there, the start we made, the adversity we went through to give ourselves the opportunity to where we find ourselves now. We've obviously went on a fantastic run, and it needed to be that run to get to where we are. But everything we set out to do at the start of the season in terms of the league campaign is still achievable. The minimum that we always set out is that top 6. As you've touched on there, we're not far off it mathematically, but we're not there yet, so that has to be the first challenge, to make sure we go and cement that place in the top 6. And the earlier we can do that, with games before the split, the better, because then it gives you the best chance to then kick on before the split, before you then play all the teams in the top 6. And like you've just touched on there, how tight it is, there is the opportunity potential for European football, and every team at the moment, from whatever position it would be, can still potentially get to that position. So I think that's what's making the league really tight, really interesting now. Between now and the end of the season, is every single team have got something to play for, whether that be, even you look at our game tomorrow, St Johnstone bottom of the league fighting for their life, so they're everything to play for in terms of that. They're only a couple of positive results away from catching the team in front of them, and that's going to be their mindset. And our mindset's about making sure we don't get caught. So, and can we push on at home to make sure we give ourselves the best chance to finish as strong as we can.
He has changed St Johnstone around, hasn't he, Simon Valacari? What have you made of the impact that he's had at Perth?
Yeah, he's playing obviously a different style of football as well, really trying to play in the right way, and you've seen the results recently, positive run of results, and they've got that bit of belief about them where they're trying to catch that team in front, and that's always a dangerous place to be in. Coming to Easter Road, they're coming here, they need to win. It's not as like they'd want to win, they need to win. The same as we're coming to the game knowing that for what we need to try and achieve this year and want to achieve this year, we need to win. So I think that's a different mindset entirely, rather than just thinking, I'd like to win today. You need to go and do that, and that's why I believe it's got all the makings of a good game, but also a tough game for us. So we know we need to be right at the very top of our game to make sure we get the right result.
Who have you got back? Available?
Well, the big thing's obviously the international boys coming back, so everyone kind of got back all together today because boys were still arriving yesterday. Nathan Mariah Welsh arriving back late, he's yesterday. Alisana was later back, the Australian boys. That's the thing, we've got a lot of international players, which is great, but they all go all over the world, so trying to get them back and making sure that the time differences and everything that comes with that, and making sure they're fresh enough to go again. So I've seen them in training, they've all came through training today, which is positive. And then in terms of the squad itself, everyone else is in a pretty good place. The one that's probably not is Joe Newell, so he was the one that I said that maybe before, if we could build up his training load in the last sort of week or so, but unfortunately he's not been able to do that, so he's not quite there yet, but still moving in the right direction. But for his point of view, he's extremely frustrated. He wants it to be yesterday, but it's one of them that we've persevered with to this point. He needs to keep doing everything he can to make sure he gets himself back, and he'll do that as soon as he can. Nicky Cadden's another one that's progressing really nicely, so he came off with that hamstring injury at Celtic Park, and he's rehabbed really well, desperate to get back. This game will come just too soon, but the good thing is, when he first does that, you're worried that it's going to be a significant injury for 3, 4, 5 or even 8 weeks, but the positive side to that is he should be back. Well, he joined in slightly this morning, so by next week he should be back to full training, which is great.
In terms of what happens in the summer, how big a difference would European football make, in particular if you were to get third and the guaranteed group stage, which the guaranteed money goes up significantly with that?
Yeah, it's great for the football club, it's great for the players. I think it's when you come to the club, I've been lucky enough to play for the club and been at the club for a long time, that it's the next stage. How can you remember playing in nights in Europe, the fantastic things to be involved in. It's brilliant for the fans to get behind, the away trips. I actually speak to a fan the other night, he was talking about going to Villa Park, and that was like their cup final, and I'm sitting going, well, we're 5-0 down going into the game. But again, I then think back, obviously I had all the things that went with that on that night, but the full-time whistle after the game, you're standing over listening to them sing Sunshine and Leaf again in Villa Park, and all the Villa fans staying behind to hear them sing it as well. That was the thing with that night. So there's special moments or special nights that don't come around all the time, and that is the reward for finishing potentially third in the league, or wherever you need to finish in the league, European football, with how well the Scottish clubs have done recently, and it is a genuine opportunity to go and play in Europe, which doesn't come around all the time. Dwight Gale has been at very top level as a football player, and the opportunity to maybe potentially play in Europe for him might be something that sways him and wants let him keep playing. He's just one example of that. Other players maybe looking to come and join your club. We always talk about it when you're trying to attract players, bring players in, that the potential to go and play in Europe, and then that has to be something that doesn't come around all the time. So it's a brilliant thing to have the opportunity to do.
You map out recruitment in terms of, if we have qualifiers, if we know that we have group stage, if we know, in terms of the amount of games you have, but also the amount of finance that would come in. Are you kind of ready for these different scenarios?
Yeah, there's always the communication beside that. I think the other side to it as well is, if you don't finish in the European places, you've got the League Cup comes round so quickly, so planning it's all involved for that as well. So the competitive games start really early regardless, so it's about being ready for it. But also when you're putting the squad together, the squad needs to be competitive to make sure we look after what we're doing, which is to keep taking the club forward, to be competitive every single season and trying to be finished. We'll talk about that top six, try and win a trophy, and then trying to finish in Europe. That's always the objectives of the team at the start of every season, and that'll be no different this year.